Good evening, one and all. Welcome back to Plate Stack Chat with me, Sam. We also have Jason and Tom back on the show once more. This week we have the pleasure in Plate Stack Chat episode number 64 of having the musical maestro, the one and only Zakk Wild. How we doing, buddy? You all right? Zakk, you there? Are you alive?
Yo,
Zakk is he's in a hotel room right now, in Wakefield, just in case any of you want to like rush to where he is. Are we allowed to say where? What room number? I don't know. But yeah,
people would run to the hotel and you'd be expected to wave out of your balcony.
Yeah,
we'd like dangling babies and stuff. Is that my
yeah, wow.
Yeah, so how are we, boys? Zakk, you said you're all right. We'll take that as read. Jason, you good? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm fine. You can take that as read as well if you want.
Yeah, take that as
that's
read.
Fine.
Tom's wearing a red hat. We'll take his okay. That's red. How you doing, Tom? How's baby?
Baby's good. Baby's good. The baby, my daughter, slept through the night last night. Like,
shut up. Oh, this is great because now, Tom, you think that now baby sleeps through the night.
I am fully aware that this is a non-linear process, right? And it will inevitably go through the thing that everyone calls sleep regression. But it was unexpected.
We don't call it sleep regression. It's a sleep regression.
It was completely unexpected. To the extent though, where I was like, "Is everything all right?" So like, yeah, it was a kind of a little bit unnerving more than anything.
Yeah. But so even if the baby gets a decent night's sleep, you still don't because you're just like doing the you're still alive check basically throughout.
Yeah.
The
well, she's been snuffly, like a bit of a cold for like the last, and it lingers for weeks with little ones. And listen to me talking like I know what I'm saying.
It lingers for weeks. Well, like all 8 weeks.
So maybe 2 to 3 weeks. But as much as it's heartbreaking when they're like, struggling to breathe, at least you can then be like, oh no, there they are. I can hear them. So but yeah, it's going well, and it's been perfect timing for her to kind of actually sleep a little bit because I've been back at work this week, which has been a real shock.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd say that training's taken a hit, but it couldn't take much more of a hit. So training stayed pretty consistent.
Well, that brings us pretty nicely into our kind of scheduled discussion, which is what everyone, all the gazillions of followers we have on Instagram will be looking for. And with that is the 22.2 debrief. Come on, boys.
Come on, boys. That's how we start.
What are you saying? That's how we start.
Right. Yeah. It's all right. Enjoyed it.
I'll say I watched the announcement this week.
Yeah.
I missed 22.1, and I know we spoke about that last week, but this week I did make the effort to watch 22.2. And it was interesting. Like I say, I felt it was a bit heavy on the adverts and product placement, but
Americans love it, don't they? But tell how funny was Justin Madera's was how you say it now, his comment on how he was going to get through the workout. Can you remember that?
Was it start fast?
Yeah,
start fast, stay fast, finish fast,
and then just finish fast. Yeah, I love it. I didn't know what to say.
That's it. I love the fact that he's probably paying someone thousands of pounds to give him that strategy. Like, what should I do this time, coach? Go fast, carry on fast, and then finish fast.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, coach. That was so worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the announcement, but once again, I watched it after the fact. So there was a lot of skipping, a lot of just kind of hitting the fast forward button.
Double unders.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you not see it? Was I the only one doing those in between the burpees and the deadlifts? Oh, no.
Oh, that's why you didn't finish.
I need to adjust my score. What was interesting is, one is that, so I wasn't watching it live, but my phone did go off again at around 8 o'clock. And one of the things I just got was like Sam's super happy about this. I was like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing it's going to be heavy because Sam's really happy. And then the other thing was like, Tom made a comment about product placement, I guess. and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'll see, because I was skipping so much. I was like, I wonder if I'll see the bit he mentioned. And I just landed on it when don't worry, I'll throw myself out there saying it, Tom, and you can say it was me. But when Chase said about like, oh, that made me like throw up on my nobles, so I have to buy another pair or something like that.
Yeah, that was the one that kind of like triggered me, and then I just saw it everywhere, and I was.
I'm gonna give the pod the message that was sent. I hope you don't mind. Well, I don't even care if you mind, but I was rolling on the floor laughing. These deadlifts are brought to you by McDonald's. These burpees by Burger King, and thanks to Coca-Cola for some great stretches. Like, I was rolling on the floor laughing when I got.
Glad you enjoyed that.
Absolutely, it's so true. I mean,
and how many people do you think then actually told me, yo, you know, Monster Energy are sponsoring this workout? You know, 2022 is sponsored by Monster Energy. I'm like, yes, I am aware. I am aware.
But talking of that announcement, and you were rolling on the floor laughing, but if you were rolling on the floor laughing, was that not at CrossFit Glasgow, Sam? That's where you were, right?
Not on the Thursday, not the announcement.
Oh, that was the Thursday. I get
that was the
confused.
Thursday. Yeah. So I suppose we should probably strategies versus reality. How did it go? I did my workout in CrossFit Glasgow.
Nice.
It was epic. You know, this other bald guy with a beard was there. Richie Brass, what a ledge. Yeah, not the better looking of the two brothers. No, Zakk was also there with his brother Richie. And yeah, that was really cool. Really good. It was the atmosphere. What do you think, Zakk? The atmosphere was pretty electric, wasn't it? Really,
it was awesome. It was like just like banging from like 4:30 till 9 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just 10 minutes, 2-minute changeover, 10 minutes, 2-minute changeover. It was just absolutely banging right till the very end. And then me, you, Rich, and Ian went head to head, which was quite good, wasn't it? I thought that was quite funny. We're not necessarily head to head, but we all just went at the end, and it was quite it was fun doing it like that.
The best thing was watching. The best. That was exactly the best thing. Watching Zakk warm up.
2 deadlifts. One at 60, one at 100. Let's go.
So Zakk turns to me before.
Save it for the clock, innit?
Come on. So Zakk turns to me before. He says, "Right, I need to warm up now." I was like, "Well, what are you going to do as a warm up?" He was like, "Well, I'm going to do like 2 at 30, 2 at 40, 2 at 50, 2 at 60, 2 at 80, 2 at 90." And then probably a couple at 100, and then like I'll do like 3 burpees, and then that'll be fine. And I was like, I'm literally going to need to actually warm up for this workout, or I am going to be dead. Like burpees and deadlifts. Deadlifts at 102 is like pretty heavy, right? That's not light. I mean, it's not that heavy for someone who weighs 140 kilos, but maybe for someone who weighs about 70 kilos, Jace. Yeah,
pretty heavy. I'm going to say that it's pretty heavy, but you can always look at rounds 1 to 3 as your warm up. So.
The best thing
that was my strategy.
Well, the best thing is when you've seen 150 people hit round 6 in 2.5 minutes and just look at a bar for the rest of the 10 minutes. I was creasing up. I was literally, by the end, I was announcing, please don't go too fast, because the other 100 people behind you have just fallen apart. Zakk's gone. If you're on YouTube, Zakk's gone. He will be back. If you're on Spotify, he'll still be back.
If you're on Spotify, he's still here. What are you talking about? That is funny you should say that, because with regards to like strategies versus realities, and actually I was speaking to somebody else after the fact about it. I actually felt really like rough that morning. I'd done something to my neck on the Thursday, and I woke up Friday morning and I was just like, I felt awful. And my idea was just get a score, like just go and get a score. Doesn't matter what it is. The Thursday night when it had been announced, I was kind of like, my personal goal was I'd love to get to the round of 10. Like I'd love to finish the 10. That would be really good for me. And when I went on Friday morning, so I just like took something for the headache that I had, went in, told my judge, I do not want to hear one more rep. I do not want to hear get back to the bar. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to go slow, and I'm just going to keep working through it. And from like round 3, I was doing singles on all the deadlifts. So I was just do 3 quick singles, then again just kind of steady pace on the burpees, 4 quick singles, steady pace on the burpees, and I went like that, and I got through the round of 10. I started back down. I did the 9 deadlifts and like 5 burpees on the set of 9 coming back down, and I was like so happy with that. Went so much better than I thought. And then in the evening, I was watching everyone else do it, and there were people that they were doing, you know, the set of 7 deadlifts unbroken, and they were doing like super fast burpees, but really long pauses between the sets. And at the end, actually, I had a better score having just gone, you know, I just didn't stop. Basically, it was just quick singles the whole way, and you know, kind of medium paced burpees again the whole way, just not stopping. And it's probably one of the, I think it's probably one of the best results I've ever got, like in the kind of main field of the Open on a workout. And as you said, 102 kilos for me is pretty heavy.
Yeah. I definitely think this workout, you know,
was a trap.
Yeah, no, it was a trap, and I think
It's a
except for the top few percentiles who have the capacity and the strength to really push hard on that, for the majority of people, the getting wrapped up in the moment, especially like Friday Night Lights or whenever you were doing the workout with your community, had the danger of making you go out too hot. And it wasn't the type of thing. So, you know, Justin Medeiros saying, start fast and hold on with a heavy deadlift, for the majority of people, that's probably not the approach, because you're going to very quickly come unpicked, you know, and hopefully not to the extent of like injuring yourself, but, you know, spinal is the thing that was going around a lot. And I think like you know, what you've described there, Jason, just like breaking, and I heard it everywhere, break the deadlifts early. You know, it was, you know, whether it was like on Instagram or in the room, it was kind of like you needed to be breaking it up early.
Mine was so I could have got a better score. 100% could have got a better score, but I got to what did I do? I got to round 6 in the first 5 minutes, which, and I was like, because I was doing singles, I did singles all the way through, quick singles all the way through, and then, as you say, like medium paced burpees. But I went out, because I'd seen so many people go out too fast, I went out too slow. And actually what happened was I got to 5 minutes and thought, I'm in a much better position than I want to be, than I should be at this point. I need to speed up. But what actually happened was I then sped up, and then I sped up too much and then got slower as they went on. So I did basically, I've done exactly the same in the second 5 minutes as I did in the first 5 minutes, because rounds 7 and 8 are almost exactly the same reps as rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's like,
right.
You know, so actually I just did the same amount of, because what did I get? I think like 89 reps. 81 reps, because I did the round of 9, and I did do a burpee after, so I could have got 82 reps, but I no repped myself because it wasn't a good rep that I wanted.
Good integrity.
Well, to be fair, like my judge was sound, really, really sound.
Well,
Laura, I could just give a shout out to Laura. Actually, Laura McCluskey. She only met her in Glasgow. Absolute legend. We'll have to have her on the plate stack. CrossFit, her things, CrossFit saved my life, is what she told me. So I'd love to have her back on. I'd love to have her on the pod at some point.
Now, if we're talking about no reps, I feel we've segued so neatly into...
Well, just Tom, do you want to tell us how you is that how you felt? You feel you went off too fast, and did you go too slow?
No, I mean, I started slow to say, because I'll be honest, like not training at the moment, going in and just like, you know, doing 100 kilo dead. Because I think one of the things as well is you can look at what your 1 RM deadlift is, you know, and you can kind of be like, oh, well, it's loads less than that, I'll be fine. But like, how often have I lifted my 1 RM deadlift? How often have I lifted 75% of my 1 rep max? Very little. So I haven't got that kind of been training that capacity. So the key thing for me, and I, rightly or wrongly, I was saying this to a lot of people at my gym where I did it on Friday, which was like, how important is the Open to you? or would you rather kind of make sure you can still train on Saturday, make sure you can still train on Monday? Because I remember, I think it was 16, I think it was like that 2016 Open, and there was that workout where there was like 50 deadlifts, 50 wall ball, 50 calories. I don't know what order they were in, but and that was 102 kilo deadlifts, I think, and I ruined myself on that because it was 50. It was a chipper, so you had to do them 50 in one go, and so I just thought about that, and so I went out slow. Kind of normally did I think I did the first 4 rounds unbroken, but then just was like 3s and 2s, 3s. Just and taking a step back, always making sure. I think I said to Jason, like actually on off pod, I was saying I did do the round of 10 unbroken because I was in the last minute then. I got 105 reps total, and so that probably gives an idea that I went pretty conservatively, so that in that last minute, the fact I was able just to kind of like move through a solid 10 and then move through 5 burpees before the clock. But I'm absolutely fine with that. I feel like the success.
Well, mine was funny because I did exactly the same. I was doing singles all the way through, and then the guy, like, I just picked up the bar and did the last 9 deadlifts. They were like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah,
But
it was a win for me because I basically put in a shift. Yeah, I didn't necessarily get the stimulus that a lot of people were getting, and maybe we'll get onto that with the levels and stuff. But I felt like I navigated through that workout, put a score in, and then I was able to train the following day, and that actually was more important for me than putting in a balls out effort.
Dude, I almost wish I'd ruined myself so that I couldn't train afterwards, because I tell you what, Monday's WOD was horrendous. That ruined me more than the open workout. I'll tell you, it was a 35-minute time cap. It had 4,000 meter rows within it. And it was like, it was a 1,000 meter row. And then it was like 3 rounds of 50 double unders, 15 burpees, 1,000 meter row, 3 rounds of 15 dumbbell snatch, and I'm trying to think what was the other, and 30 lunges, 1,000 meter row, 3 rounds of 20 kettlebell swings, 20 press ups, 1,000 meter row. And they were like, "Oh, and the rows, you should pace the rows so that they're kind of like the same time. The first and the last should be similar times." I got on the last row and I looked at the clock. I didn't have long left, so I absolutely like pulled my heart out on that on that rower, and I finished it in 34:53. So I was like, just got it in. I felt awful all day after that. But I did go and see the new Batman movie, so that kind of helped me recover. But apart from that, I felt awful.
Decent.
Yeah.
Well, going back to our lovely segue into what can only be the best part of the show. Movement standards again. Honestly,
can I get one out of the way straight away? Because there was so much talk about the burpee standards and the craziness of the burpee standard that we almost forgot the bro rep deadlifts. Like,
well,
nobody was.
And that's what I was seeing loads of. First line. I'm going to take you to the first line of the notes on this. Okay. In fact, I'm going to share my screen. Let's share the screen, and we'll go for, where are we? We're on this one here. Okay, screen number 3. I will share the screen, and it says, notes. Prior to starting this workout, the athlete will need to mark a long, straight line on the floor and place the barbell on the center of that line. Then the workout begins with the barbell on the floor and the athlete standing tall next to one end of the barbell. Okay, now that seems like it should be pretty straightforward, right? How many videos have I seen on Instagram? No line. How many videos have I seen on Instagram? First rep, just standing there next to the barbell. Like, not like in front of the barbell. Like, how stupid can one person be? Or many people be? But like, and I get it. If you're not taking part, if you're not signed up for that open, then, do what you like. It doesn't matter. But there are people that I've seen that I know have signed up that just didn't do it.
Okay, it also depends maybe on where you're doing it, because like you might not be signed up. So for example, I might go to do it at CrossFit Bath and I'm not signed up for the open. but the lines are still there because of all the other people that were signed up, right? So it's like, again, as I said last week, right? I walked in Friday morning and there were boxes and lines all against the wall. This time I walked in and there were lines all over the floor. They're still there at the moment, actually. So all the lines, and then they've even put like a second line just to mark where they want the barbell so that we can have
like
correctly
a
spaced out.
line.
Yeah, just so you can make sure you can be doing your burpees over the bar and you're not going to kick the person doing the burpees over the bar that's behind you, kind of doing the workout at the same time. So I mean, yes, that's you've really fallen at the first hurdle at this point, haven't you?
Like it's just so sad that.
Oh, look at this! We've got more good judging being talked about here. I don't know if this is. I'm guessing this is Connor.
Yeah, it will be Connor, I imagine.
No rep twice. Oh, okay. Shocking. No, good. Shocking. Yeah. But
it's just so frustrating. Hi, Mary Carmen.
Yeah, she gets a pass. She could be half an hour late.
That's all right. Zack's like half hour late too. He's back now. Zakk, lovely. He's got his hotel room Wi-Fi going.
So you know what it is he told people where he was staying, and they tracked him down.
That was it. I had a queue to sign autographs. No, I had to go downstairs and get a Wi-Fi password because it wouldn't work. I had to get the premium.
Did you literally run in and like, look, I'm on a YouTube video right now. You need to give me the password.
It was quite funny.
Now.
She was like, I'll give you a free 24-hour access if you give us your hairdryer. I was like, deal. I'm not going to be using that.
Did she make you run upstairs and get your hairdryer before she'd give it to you?
Luckily, she was in the corridor and we had this whole discussion, and then I just went downstairs and then she printed us one off and that. And now it's working and I can actually hear everyone talking. So that's good. Hairdryer. What a deal.
Yeah.
What a deal.
Now you're just going to hear someone with a hairdryer outside your door and you won't be able to hear anything. You're just going to hear that. So just jumping back a second then, Zakk, how did you find 22.2?
Well, I saw like everyone saying how bad it was for your back and that. And to be honest with you, I haven't really done deadlifts for ages. It was just all right. And the next morning I was all right. Next day I was just, a little bit. What I actually did on the way up to Glasgow on the Thursday night was I did a drop-in at Unity Fitness with Stephen Turnbull and Nicola. And that was a 16-minute EMOM of deadlifts and kettlebell swings. So that geared us right up for it. So my back was already sore and then did that on the Friday.
There were no theatrics though, were there, from you, Zakk, at all after? Like, no, none of this like laying on the floor, whimpering and that kind of thing. Hey.
I can't remember what I did. What did I do?
You did absolutely nothing. You literally laid on the floor like like someone had just sniped you from a rooftop.
I'm sure he was hoping that.
That was off the burpees, and I did that. You know that like thing that like people who do mobility do, where you like lean your legs to one side and you put your body to the other side to try and did like that for 5 seconds on either side. So I think that's probably sorted it out actually.
I love the way you described that. I did that thing that those people that do mobility do.
I am not one of them.
Let's say he's not a Romward ambassador then.
No. I'm getting off of that. That's sorting right out,
There you go. If you're watching on, if you're listening on our podcast on Spotify, he is holding a can of Fit Aid because Zakk Wild, not only being an international top DJ, he's also the UK brand manager for Fit Aid.
I am
available for all of your recovery needs. We're not sponsored by Fit Aid. I just want to point that out because they're not paying us any money to have Zakk on here.
I'm glad you pointed that out because just for a second, I thought maybe we were.
You're not.
Oh, there we go.
No, I am. No, I haven't got any free Fit Aid from him. So that's
jumping back then to movement standards. So we went back we just wanted to get Zakk's take on 22.2. We were talking about the movement standards. So Sam's not happy about the lack of lines on most gym floors.
Nope.
Makes sense. I was saying like the burpee standard for me was something that I just felt like not was ignored. It was just the fact that because people were the burpee standard, was so like bizarre
Yeah.
that people just were ignoring these like deadlifts that people were kind of hardly hitting extension before going back down.
Seemingly Justin Medeiros is judge as well on the actual program. I was like watching it like, oh really? Like, okay.
I think when you're watching from a telly angle, you know, it could be all right on that, you know. But
true.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt.
I think with the but for the burpees, they were just every single burpee I've seen was just a disaster. You don't really know because of the fine line between a 2-footed sort of jump that doesn't need to be, you know, either or, as long as your 2 feet are in the air crossing the thing. It's too fine of a line to say rep or no rep, I thought. So people just pretty much did anything to get over the bar.
I mean,
rather than a 2-footed takeoff where you're seeing 2 feet leaving the floor at the same time, which we've always done.
Well, no, but the key bit, and this is what I was telling people, the key bit is both feet must be off the ground as the athlete passes over the bar.
Yeah.
So as long as your feet are off the floor when you're going over the bar, then both feet are, then that's a rep.
It's just it's just crazy, isn't it? It's like how.
Did you guys see, if you haven't seen it already, go and check out Brian Friend's video of how he did how he was going to do them.
Yeah.
They were like burpee bear crawls. They were
but there were reps, weren't there? It was like, is this a rep or not?
According to the standard, it would be a rep.
I think it was a good improvement in the movement standard from a judging point of view, because like defining a 2-footed takeoff, like that's good in terms of like it's a very objective, a very clear instruction for movement standard. And for the majority of people, like, you know, I remember last year, or was it whichever year it was, when 20.1 or whatever it was, where you got the burpee bar facing burpees and the snatches or ground to overhead. Anyway, with that one, for the majority of people, it slows you down and you kind of get yourself to the bar and then do a 2-footed jump. But for the elites who are kind of trying to go as fast, they can do it. They're just trying to do it as fast as possible. Then you get this thing like Catherine David's daughter, you know, like bunny hopping across, and it just becomes really hard to judge, you know, because you don't have the luxury of slow-mo. So I think it was a good improvement in the movement stand, in the judging requirement, but it wasn't communicated clearly, because the word in there was like clearly jumping. And it's like, well, that's subjective in itself, because as Brian Friend nicely, you know, and I got some chat going with Dave from Fantasy Fitnessing, is like, when does a jump become a step? When does a jump become a leap? When does a leap become a stride? When does a stride become a step? Right. And so it made it a lot easier to judge. But like Boz had his video on the games site, which was like, you know, no cheating, make sure you clearly, it's a good intentional jump. And maybe the fact that this is what gets all the time now, is all about the nitpicking of like, was that an intentional jump or not, is maybe a sad side of the sport.
It's just the problem is that you've got a sport where it's basically exercise as fast as you can, and whenever you're going to find a way to cut down some time doing a movement, people are going to do that, and that's where, you know, these debates will always rage. As soon as you give any leeway, of course people are going to use it, because it also, these scores come down to seconds. You know, it's because you know, someone like us, we've got like, what difference does it really make for me? Like the amount of time I'm going to save, I'm probably lose it somewhere else. But for them, when it's like, oh, you finished with 58 seconds and you finished 57 seconds and they finished 56 seconds, and that's thousands of places. You know, difference.
And that's all the elites are trying to do across all competitions, is cut corners and try to get away with as much as they possibly can to get further up the thing. That's what competitive people do, don't they?
And then you say, shame on them. Say it's like, shame on them.
It's the same in every sport though, right? If you look at like the offside rule, like in football, like the attacker doesn't make sure there's clear space between him and the defender, so there's no ambiguity as to whether they were onside or not. They're literally trying to do it like to the minute, and like, but then even going beyond that, trying to almost like sneak an extra yard. You see it in rugby with the offside line, so it's all like Zakk, you said it right. It's like it's competitive sport. It's just trying to cut corners because cutting corners saves energy.
The funniest is when people that I found is when people have posted their videos of their last rep jumping over the bar and they don't land on their feet. And I'd be like, no. They're like, actually, did those people get that score or did they get that score -1?
Or imagine if it was like 58 seconds to the end of the time cap, like, and they've jumped over like 59, they've landed on their back or whatever dramatically, and you're like, well, that's a no rep, you need to do one more to finish it. Oh, time's up. So sorry.
Time +1.
Anyway, I mean, it you know, it was what it is. What it is. It was what it was. I mean, they've been.
It will be what it will be.
Well, it's just been a bit weird, hasn't it? Step down off the box was something that people were a little bit like, because again, like people going, oh, was Noah stepping down every time? Sometimes it looked a little bit like he was kind of jumping off, and then this time it was a bit like, oh, it was Justin, you know, hitting it, and it's always like that, isn't it? And you know, and every time the movement standard is slightly different, it's gonna, you know, cause these questions that people don't have answers to.
I did like the first week. Yes, you must step down off the box. That's someone at Zakk. Let's give it. Do you know what? That person is definitely giving that hairdryer back. Are they giving the hairdryer back?
It's Caroline in the hotel room with us.
Kazzy.
I've told her she's not allowed to speak.
What about Zakk? I've told you you shouldn't be getting ladies of the night in your room at night.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Kaz. Anyway, the week 1, they're like, oh, for safety reasons, you must step down off the box. Week 2, have a heavy barbell for 100 reps. Yay!
10 minutes time cap. Go
ham. Let's go. No, it's decent. Well, yeah. Does that bring us to the end of that, or you got more?
The only thing I would say is the leaderboard is looking very interesting.
Ours or the overalls?
Well, ours as well, actually. Ours is very interesting. I think the overall one is quite interesting. So I've got to remove the hashtag from. Oh, well, let's just say, well done, Ben Cole, that you're still winning on this thing. He got 163 reps. He did great. Ryan Butlin, a former Plate Stack Chat guest, training now at CrossFit BFG. I don't know what he's been doing. He's smashing it now. He got 157 reps on that. Connor Kemp, yeah, you're doing all right. You're still doing a lot better than me. But no, our leaderboard is looking really nice. But I was looking at the worldwide leaderboard, and now I've got to turn this stupid filter off. Not so sure I like the redesign of the app, by the way. That's another.
It looks cleaner and smarter than.
It's just hard to navigate. So a couple of.
It's not straightforward, is it?
Yeah. So Phil Toon.
We do have additional leaderboards to be told how far down we are.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that like Saxon Panchek's in second at the moment, which is Colton Mertens 7th. So he finished that 8th in the world, 7:39. But it's a lot of like
the women's is ridiculous. Tia finishing that workout in 7 minutes and 5 seconds.
Oh
yeah, but I would say looking at the women's, the most interesting thing is Mal O'Brien. That she's
obviously I was going to get there, but
you know she finished that in 7:09.
7:09, unreal.
Also, another name that jumped up that I thought it was interesting. Brooke Wells is in 7th in the Open. So you know, after her elbow injury at the last games, like wasn't sure if we'd see her that high on the leaderboard. Very interesting is that in 14th is Sydney Wells, so her sister.
Doing well.
And this is kind of like her first real go at CrossFit. She kind of started last year, but this is like, I mean, to be that hot, the genetics in that family must be something else. Yeah. And I'm following Boz's kind of, you know, the secret competitions that that you've got going on the leaderboard with people and maybe they don't know. And I did put the Plate Stack Chat hashtag in, and I'm watching a couple of close battles on the worldwide leaderboard. So I just have to filter this to the men's. Tom, do you know who your competition is at the moment?
No.
So you and John CrossFit are very close, because you took him on event 1 and he just beat you on event 2. So you're both sitting at you're both sitting very close on the worldwide leaderboard.
Oh,
I love how
okay.
close is a good like 2,000 places between you, but
Yeah,
the grand scheme of things,
that
it's close.
That can happen. That can make a
I'm competing with Daniel Richmond. Very similar story. He did a lot better than me on 22.1, and I did good enough on 22.2 to close the gap. So we are also sitting the same, like 1,000 places between us. He's still ahead, so it's good. 22.3 is going to be interesting. And then I don't care about anybody else. They're the two that I'm really watching.
Well, I actually got the same score as Guy. Guillermo Salas, actually, in 118,207th place. Yeah, we got 90 reps in the first one and 81 in the second.
So here's a question for you guys then. Based on your leaderboard position at the moment, what level do you think you're going to be?
Yeah, buddy. Well, should we just talk about what levels are? Do you want me to give a little?
Oh, if you know what they are, then tell us.
Yeah, mate.
I'll tell you all about it. All about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked at them and thought, what does that mean?
Yeah. This year, CrossFit will introduce new competition levels following the conclusion of the CrossFit Open for athletes who submit all 3 scores. There's a question mark already. What are CrossFit competition levels? Good question. Competition levels will help athletes of every fitness and ability level find and compete against others of a similar level in CrossFit's virtual competitions and other licensed competitions and events throughout the season. The capabilities and accomplishments of the fittest on earth continue to challenge the assumptions about what is humanly possible. Blah, 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 blah. There's a whole blah, 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 blah. But there's loads of people in between, the top and the bottom, the people who go do their first Open, and some people who've done their 12th, and some people who are at the bottom of the leaderboard, and some people at the top. Levels create an opportunity for for athletes at every stage of this journey, from the first-time Open competitor to professional CrossFit athlete, to find and compete against others like them. How do you get one? That's the bigger question, isn't it? How do I get a level? Only athletes who participate in the 2022 Open will be eligible to receive a level in 2022. Following the close of the Open, all athletes who submit scores for every workout will automatically receive a level based on their overall performance. Levels will be displayed on each athlete's profile. Dual division athletes, i.e. age group athletes who are also participating in individual divisions, will be awarded 2 levels, one within the individual division and one within their respective age division.
Right, I'm going to get 2 levels then. Brilliant. A nice,
I get 2
a nice shiny one where they're like, oh, you're pretty good for the 30, 35 division. Yeah, pretty good. And then they'll be like, here you are worldwide. You suck. I'm like, oh, great.
So if anyone's ever used Beyond the Whiteboard, and given that CrossFit have an official partnership with Beyond the Whiteboard, I expect it to be very similar to that. So when you post if you post a score in Beyond the Whiteboard, it will give you the and it's like a workout that's been done a lot. It will give you like 2 numbers. Well, for me, because I'm a masters athlete as well, so you'll get like 2 numbers, and it's normally the percentile. Now, whether they'll give you, whether they might break it, they might bin it a little bit more than that, bucket it a little bit more. So you get the percentile number, but then what Beyond the Whiteboard had as well is it has like animals. And so like you can have, I'm typically like tortoise, but apparently there's things like dragon at the top.
What is sloth like before the tortoise?
Yeah. So
but the thing is, but don't you think? So this raises a whole plethora of questions for me. So the first question would be, what if I didn't do the Open?
you don't get a level.
You're right. Okay, that then raises a whole another question to me. So if I don't have a level and I want to enter a CrossFit licensed event, if they decide to use the level system, how do I enter that? What does that? It kind of goes on the question like, if there's a qualification, do I have to qualify, or do I just use my level to qualify?
Well,
I reckon you'll still have to qualify. Levels are just a bit of a gimmick.
Be more. No, I think the level would be more just for like somebody who's basically on the fence of like, oh, you're
not getting anything.
Could I do this competition? I don't know. Am I good enough? And then they'll be like, well, look, if you're level this, then there shouldn't be anything at this competition that's a problem for you. And then you're like, oh, okay, I can go. If you're somebody who's extremely fit but didn't do the open, and you're like, well, I'm going to go and do this event, and they're like, well, are you a red level? I don't care. I'm going to go and do this event anyway because I reckon I can do everything that you're going to throw at me. So I think it's more. It looks like it's more pitched towards people that are kind of new to competition and thinking of whether or not they can go to these competitions. My bigger question mark on all of this would be, are the free open workouts enough to give someone a level?
Yeah,
because at the moment, I mean, we don't know what's coming out on Thursday night, but at the moment there hasn't really been anything that requires skill, right, so far. So you could be someone who's just very fit and you've got an amazing level, but if they put in some what would be considered not necessarily super high skilled gymnastics at a competition, you might just not have the skill set to do any of that, for example. That might all get corrected on Friday night for most people. We don't know, but it seems odd that, as you said, like you have to have done those free workouts. That gets you your level. Is your level then set in stone? If you go to a competition and you compete and you do well at that competition and they use a level system, would that influence your level? Or is your level just one and done for the year and then it gets redone later? If you do quarterfinals, will that influence your level? Or is everyone that went to quarterfinals now at the same level?
I think it adds another metric, right? And they're going to try and encourage competitions, especially CrossFit license competitions, to use it to help inform the community, like the level. You're still going to see competitions having to kind of give like typical movement standards. Battle for middle ground are really good at doing that because that's introduces the skill. Because that's the thing with the open, as you've mentioned, Jason. It's not testing the 10 elements of fitness at the moment. It's predominantly looking at kind of like whatever you want to call it, kind of like capacity and like ability to go fast. Like, there hasn't been double unders. There hasn't been kind of high skill gymnastics yet. So now I still think the right people, now there's a separate conversation about the right people are getting to quarterfinals, right? But in terms of, there might be an argument. It's like, well, if you're fitter, you're probably got higher skill, generally speaking, but I beg to differ and I can show you that.
Absolutely. We've got people at the box that have smashed these last two workouts, and then I see them regularly practicing, trying to get the skills that could potentially show up in a workout that are skills that I possess, but I could not touch them on these workouts, like on these other ones. Whereas if this showed up, that would be good news for me because I'd be like, oh, good, I can do that, and I know that they can't, kind of thing. So it's, and I think that we've said multiple times that the Open isn't really a good enough qualifying system, and that's why you have quarterfinals and semifinals and so on. Like when people got to the games directly from the Open, that was the problem, right? People saying, well, the Open didn't seem like a good enough test to justify somebody getting to the games. You needed those other steps.
But that's where the difference is. So what the Open is not a test, it's a filter. And the same for the quarterfinals, that's a filter. And the semifinals is a filter. The CrossFit Games is the test. So like that's why like Sid Sanctional, right? The one that was, they had rowing on the water. So imagine, I don't know, Zach George couldn't row for toffee on water, or was terrified of water. For example, someone who's terrified of water, right?
Well, then they're really lucky they got a rowing event and not a swimming event.
Well, yeah. Well, no, you're right. But imagine they were terrified of water, couldn't even get in a boat, misses out on the CrossFit Games because they're afraid of water, right? That, or or whatever it is. That would be a test rather than a filter. Do you know what I mean? So actually, what you want is this like spectacled test at the end, and then all these filters as they go along, which I think is a good sort of way to do it, maybe. But yeah, but the Open is just 3 workouts. Like the fittest people in the world are basically sandbagging. I think Zakk, we were talking about it earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
Basically, they're sandbagging the workouts because they know they're going to fit in the top X amount anyway. Like maybe Mal is sort of crushing it.
She probably just wants the money, doesn't she? She's young.
Yeah.
She needs them. She needs the money.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, but that's fine. But that's why I'm just saying that, we know this, and that's why we have all these other systems in place. So it seems odd that this is then if this is then the sole basis on you getting your level. Like, if levels have any real meaning or value, this is crazy. If they are just hey, you're, in the grand scheme of things, you kind of fit in about here. This competition, they reckon this is probably about the right level for you. Go and have fun. Like, yeah, you're not necessarily going to win the competition, but you're not going to.
I guess it also works the same way though, because like Zakk, you've seen it before, right? Where there have been people competing at a competition that should absolutely not be competing at that competition. They should definitely be in the one like in the level above. Yeah. So you'll see like someone in the a battle for middle grounds or a rep it out or I'm just saying those because they're like the ones that I've been to lots. But you'll see someone in like a scale division when they should absolutely not be in a scale division, So actually, you could go like, well, you got this level for your Open score, so you should really be, or they could licensed events even, you could say for levels X and below.
Yeah. Well, I do think
this is where the lack of skill thing comes in, because again, you could have somebody who's trained a lot. They've trained maybe for years. They've been very athletic all their life, and they would absolutely crush the Open, and they would have a really high level, and they can't do bar muscle ups or ring muscle ups.
Yeah,
that's something required for the competition, so they have to scale. Yeah. And then you'd say, oh, you can't come and do this competition scaled because your score is you're this level, and that means it's not fair. And like, but I physically, I can't do the RX because there are movements in there that I can't do.
Yeah, so, I totally agree. Yeah. But that's been the lifelong thing of it anyway, hasn't it? And that's mainly why you see people in the lower things when the absolute machines that load the things, but maybe they can't handstand walk or handstand push up, and then that puts them in the low one. But then everyone's like, oh, look at him, he shouldn't be in that one, blah blah blah. He's got 100k snatch, blah blah blah. But then if there's something you can't do, and they get the crap for it, don't they? But I do think the levels might just be a friendly thing as well, like amongst the sort of like to try and encourage people to do the Open and things like that. So I don't know, like I don't know.
All I can think is that Zakk just basically wants next time he's standing next to Sam to be like, oh, sorry, Sam, I can't remember. What level are you? What level? Oh, I was thinking like maybe we should all wear like a band with our level on it next time we're at an event.
Yeah. You never know. You never know what CrossFit are going to do with them, do you? Really?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I think for it, apparently, some have said that it wasn't an email before the start of the Open, and like I think Dave had mentioned it in a podcast on Talking Elite Fitness, but there's a little bit of it kind of like being announced on social media, which is the majority of where we get the majority of our news from within the CrossFit space. That it's kind of like, well, we're kind of 2/3 of the way through, and it kind of be like getting to the end of an essay at school and then being told that this counts towards your grade. And like, what? No. I might have warmed up if I'd known that.
I was going to say, Tom, would you have trained harder at that point?
No. But I mean, because the thing is like I get it, like it being fun and stuff, and we had Boz on, they were talking about those friendly rivalries, but we also talk about the intimidation factor of CrossFit as both a methodology and even then beyond that the competition. And sometimes you're trying to avoid people worrying about the leaderboard and just getting in and working on their fitness. And if you're going to then grade people, which is what another word, they could have called it grades, right? But there's probably a reason they didn't.
And the fact that that's then automatically applied to your profile.
I'd have probably just not submitted my last score if that was the case.
But you're never going to make everyone happy. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, because I've done it for 9 years, and I'm probably going back over now. Do you know what I mean? So like my level's going to look like somebody who's just started.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like compared to somebody, but how will that come into like I've been there 9 years, and then so they should be on a sort of like this guy's getting better and better and better, but I've gone the other way. How does that like take into consideration for the level?
Well, it doesn't, because because you're now in a different category. You'll still be that level in that category, right?
The older one, the like really old category.
The old man one. Yeah.
Talking of
you're moving into the Rob Walker category.
He's been entertaining on
he has, hasn't he?
Socials, hasn't he?
That's someone, if we want to talk movement standards,
get him on. I messaged him going, "Are you all right, like Rob?" He's like, "Oh, just winding a few people off." He's been relentless. It's funny.
Yeah.
So Zakk said that you never know what CrossFit's going to do next.
You don't.
22.3. What are CrossFit going to do next?
Loads of gymnastics and definitely double unders.
Ooh, see, people have been saying double unders.
Are we on predictions?
Yeah.
So because
people are saying double unders because they told us we had to have a rope.
Yeah, so single unders or double unders, and then I was saying to Sam earlier on today that I think it might be like where it starts off doing pull-ups, and then the next one's chest to bars, then the next one's muscle ups. That's what I was kind of with double unders mixed in amongst it all, or single unders. That was what I was kind of thinking. Me and Sam were earlier.
Yeah. So I think that's a good shout. My only problem with that is that's basically what we did last year. Is it was exactly that kind of thing. It was with the front squats and the thrusters, but it was at toes to bar, chest to bar, muscle ups. So I wonder if we might see those three movements. I wonder if it would be more in a chipper style, that maybe you have to get through a certain amount of work of each thing, and you just kind of work through, and it will be all different movements. So we won't be like repeating. It wouldn't be like double unders, toes to bar, double unders. It will be maybe a double under buy-in, then toes to bar, then maybe some thrusters or whatever. I've got a few crazy ideas if you want to hear them. Could this be the first year of the gymnastics complex? So maybe you have to do like a toes to bar followed by a chest to bar, and that's 1 rep, something like that. We've seen a lot of athletes put out those kind of weird, crazy complexes on their Instagram. So something that could happen, a simplified version of that. I'm wondering, I'm on two sides of this, because a lot of the predictions I've heard are just people being like, it's going to be double unders and of course thrusters, or thrusters and chest to bar, that classic thrusters and chest to bar to finish up the open with some double unders mixed in. I'm thinking that either we're not going to see thrusters this year. This will be the year that we don't see them. And everyone's like, oh, there's always been thrusters. There was a year we almost didn't have thrusters. So there was the final workout was voted on by the community, and they chose the workout that had thrusters. Potentially, we could have had an overhead squat workout. So I think
would suck way more than thrusters if there's.
I'd have preferred that. We could either no thrusters, or potentially, a lot of people have been like, oh, it'll be this, and then it will be like the part B will be either a heavy complex or like a build to a heavy, a max clean. I reckon it could be either max thruster, 1 rep max thruster, or potentially more evil, something like a build to a 3 rep max thruster, something like that, as like a part B. So maybe it will be double unders and toes to bar or something like this for however many minutes, get through that, and then like a heavy thruster to finish.
like an exciting end, and it'll be really good in the boxes to do that, because everybody likes the lifts and the bits, don't they? You know, I mean, it's great. It has been great. Everybody getting through the workouts so far, but the real excitement is people doing the PB lifts or trying to do something that they're not doing. You know, and I think that's what they need to do for the last one.
I think that because of maybe because of the levels thing, they start with bar muscle ups.
I don't. The first two.
No, they're definitely not going to do that, are they? They're
the
definitely
first two
not
workouts have been for everyone, and they've and I think they're going to keep it like that. I think they're going to do something where it's just not easy, but like everyone can do it. And I think by chucking the bar muscle ups in, it'll just throw the other two workouts away, because nobody is really not being able to do the first two things, have they? Everyone, it's been quite accessible, and I've enjoyed that.
But they have to split it somehow.
Yeah.
They have to give me an opportunity to be better than someone else somewhere. Because I'm literally not going to move. I'm not going to move faster than anybody on this call, let alone the majority of people above me in the leaderboard. At least let me lift something heavy.
I think that the part two thing, I think, is what we need.
Yeah. So Mary Carmen reckons gymnastics and then a heavy bar with double unders in between. So like you see there, it depends on how they structure that, whether or not that's good, that heavy barbell is going to help you or not.
No, because
so
they could put chest to bar pull-ups in first, in which case I'm going to spend 15 minutes trying to get chest to bar pull-ups. Whereas if they put the bar, at least the bar in first with some double unders, and at least I'll have got a rep. You know, I think they will. They've got to have. Yeah, they've got to have complex gymnastics. I think that's what the whole Instagram picture was about. That was basically like, here is some complex gymnastics, and some sword fighting.
There was also fencing in there.
Yeah,
so I was like, sword play.
Yeah,
jousting. Having said that, so we're talking about the image on the CrossFit Games Instagram page, if you've not seen it, but the people in the foreground, one of them's thrusting with a sword, so maybe thrusters will be in there.
Yeah, someone said that, and then somebody else showed a Google thing of like, actually in fencing that's called a lunge.
So
it's going to be it's going to be lunges. What I'd quite like to see, what I would quite like to see is actually, and I don't know logistically how easy it'd be, but I'd like them to maybe use all the stuff that we've had on the equipment list, and so maybe like a kind of chipper using the dumbbell, using the barbell, or maybe have the barbell set for like that heavy lift at the end, but maybe, you know, again, could we use the box again? I don't know, probably not, but use the dumbbell again, use the rope that we haven't used yet, do some gymnastics, maybe use the barbell for something, like a lighter barbell for something, and then a heavy lift at the end. That would be nice. So it would be it's going to be the final workout for a lot of us. So it would be nice to do something fun, because that's the only kind of thing I've heard this year is that it hasn't had that high skill element at all. Like every workout, pretty much everyone's been able to do. If you were strong enough, you could do this one we've just had. You know, the wall walks isn't massively high skill, but they've been a bit boring. That's one of the things people have said, is they're kind of like just, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean with that. Yeah, they're like just plain simple things, aren't they, rather than like exciting. And that's why I think was it the last one last year where we did that complex at the end? Was that the very last workout? Yeah. I'm hoping they'll follow that pattern, because they kind of do the same things all the time, don't they? Really, although it's a bit different. They kind of have a pattern that they love. Like triplets and, you know,
couplets, triplets.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So they love all that stuff. So, and I think they might follow the same sort of planish of last year. Well, I'm hoping, because that'll create the excitement that we kind of need, really, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, I love that we speculate and we've got no clue.
Yeah, no idea. I'm hoping. So if you're listening on Spotify, or in your car or something, then I'm going to talk through this image that we've got of that CrossFit have put up, because I quite like it. Obviously, there's the fencing going on in the foreground. We've got balancing going on over on the right hand side with the pommel horse as well next to that. I quite like the guy who actually just sort of midway up. This looks like a classic 90s PE lesson. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of where I'm going for it. This guy who's kind of in the sort of upper right looks like he's fallen from the top onto his nuts. It's like, that's how I feel. He's like, ooh. We've got the guys who are just sort of climbing up the ladder, and then this guy climbing down the ladder, which is fine. That's sort of in the top, in the middle. We've got a guy at the top, sort of left, looking a bit like he's pole dancing, which I think is probably that's not on the kit. I mean, if you've got a rig, you've got a pole,
you've got a barbell, you've got plates,
you've got a barbell, you've got weights, so you could stand it in. Done. This guy's like on the left, in the middle of the. There's two pole dancers actually.
That guy's on trapeze. Yeah.
There's a guy up, and then this guy like hanging by his feet. Do you think he's just missed? You know what that is? What was the Russian one? The competition they had in like Serbia or something, where they had the hanging muscle ups. Yeah, maybe it's that, but GHD sit ups. It's like sit ups.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably got absolutely nothing to do with this picture whatsoever.
No, you're right.
It's probably,
isn't it?
Gymnastics is what we take from that picture. There will be some form of
gymnastics. And this is a complex picture, so it's going to be complex gymnastics.
The real caption here is that the old when coach says warm yourself up before the team WOD, isn't it? Really, that's what that's all about.
I like this. I like. We'll just quickly go. I like the comments as well. Complex gymnastics. It literally says Fran. I'm on the fence about this one. I like that. Rope climbs and fencing. I knew it. The one that my favorite comment on this is where is it? If 22.3 doesn't have fencing, I want my $20 back. I thought that was particularly.
I mean, if it wasn't for the equipment list, we've had shooting at an event, so fencing is surely the next step, right?
It's the 1v1 though. The 1v1ness of it, isn't it? The 1v1ness is the killer. Connor, we had these up already. Connor thinks max cluster. I certainly hope not, because my cluster's horrendous.
He also thinks lunging with a sword.
Lunging with a sword. Whatever you get up. Not sure I want to know what teenage boys get up to these days. Anyhow, let's move along. So that was that. And then Tom, you wanted to talk about this is what I've named it anyway. Training whilst being active, struggling to fit aid in training. You see what I did there? See what I did?
Are you sure we're not sponsored?
No, we're not. It must have been a typo.
That's nearly as bad as the open announcement. That is.
I thought we were going to say that's almost as bad as the chalking fitness plugs we normally get in every episode. But
we haven't had any of them so far.
I think. Well, ironically, I mean, we've come up on the hour and probably running out of time even to discuss this. But I'll be honest. Like the Open is probably the most consistent I've been with my training in a long time, right? I'm normally sacrificing training for chalking fitness or for whatever, and back, things like that. And it's probably the one thing I am making sure I get in at the weekends, which you could say is a blessing, right? But at the same time, when we talk about levels and we talk about, it's a test of, it's a good line in the sand of where your fitness is right now. I'm like, is it really? It probably is, actually, to be honest.
Well, I think it is. I think it is, Tom, because I think if you're saying, my training's been off for the last year, and I've dropped places in the Open, well, maybe that is a good, good indicator. Whether or not then there's anything you can do about it. I guess there's going to be people that the Open is a bit of an eye opener, and they'll be like, oh, do you know what? Actually, my fitness has really dropped off, and I don't really have any excuse. And there'll be some people like yourself that say, well, my fitness has dropped off a bit. Why? Well, because of these big changes in my life. That it is what it is, but it's interesting to know kind of where I am, and maybe not oh, this is where I am compared to where I was last year, but oh, this is where I am. And maybe next year or the year after, you're like, oh, do you know what? Actually, I managed to organize myself. I managed to kind of solve the puzzle of family life and business and podcasts and all of that. And look, actually, I've improved a lot in the Open this year. So, you know, it's a line, isn't it? Not always going to be a line that you want to see, but it is one there.
If I ever want to appear in my own stats, I need to stop doing stats.
Well, that's a quote right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it's hard. I know exactly what you mean. Like, I'm away all the time, and trying to fit things in. I'll maybe train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then I'm away, and then I'll not really train, and then I'll you know, it's like, as much as I like watch everybody working out as I'm at the competitions, and I'm like, you know, inspired by it and that, and then it you know, it takes us 4 days before I train again, you know, so like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I've been trying to run because I've got a competition coming up in a few weeks. So I've been running every day to try and get my fitness to some sort of level, because I'm doing 2 hours of ski, 2 hours of bike, 2 hours of assault runner in a team of 6. So I'm trying to get
competition.
Yeah. So
no, that's just his evening training.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, is that just what you're doing?
No, I'm just running, trying to get some actual fitness to be able to, like, it's a team of 6, so we're not on all the time, but basically we're going to have to max out on whatever we're doing for 20 seconds each for 2 hours. That's pretty much what we'll end up doing. So
that seems like a daft strategy. I'll be honest.
It's the one that wins. It's the one that wins. We've done it 3 times before, and that's the winner of the Roar. It was anyway. 20 seconds on, 6 people, 20 seconds on for 7.5 hours.
You must have Raki. Raki must be doing it.
Raki was the winner on that competition. He's not
say.
available this one because Raki's training to be a fireman.
Oh,
cool.
He's doing like 16 weeks of training, so he can't do anything else but train to be a fireman.
He finds it tough when he says, I'll run into the fire for 20 seconds, and then I'm coming out, and someone else has to go in and drag the person the rest of the way out.
The fire for 20 seconds.
So yeah, no, it's hard to get it in, isn't it? To get things, there's always other stuff that needs to be doing, and then before you know it, it's like whatever time. Then you know, it's just a way.
That 2 or 3 days on, 4 days off is very familiar to me as well, Zakk. So I echo your pain there. It's not that regularly and consistent that everyone talks about, really, and that's it makes it difficult as well. Then that you know, whether you're following a remote program or you're a member of a box, right? Because you're not consistently being able to get to the class, and it then just becomes you know, you have to get comfortable then with just enjoying it when you get it, right? And so then it's not about kind of like, oh, I've been squatting twice a week for 8 weeks, look how strong I've got. It's more just like, oh, well, I could still squat, so that's a win.
Yeah, that's literally it. That's literally it. I like joined a more local gym at the beginning of the month to just sort of get some WODs in before 22.1, because I literally hadn't really done any this year, and I was thinking I don't want my first WOD of the year to be 22.1. So I got at least 8 workouts in before I did that, so that was sort of a little bit better. But yeah, I joined CrossFit Sunderland. That's it, because it's just more local to me, to where Death or Glory, which is my gym, but it's so far away to get there on a night time. It's like 50 minutes either side, so you know, it's a 3-hour trip to go there. But yeah, it's just to get a few workouts in, just so I can try to get my fitness to something.
Interesting.
But that's my target. Going back to what you were saying, Jason, is to try and, after the Open, try and get the plates spinning properly.
Yeah. Ironically, it's been my best Open so far by far. Like, you know, I said like last year's doesn't really count because so few people could actually do it and do the workouts properly and all of that. And yet I'm doing better this year than I did last year anyway. So this one I kind of do count.
Thanks, mate. Because I dropped like a rock since last year's.
I didn't even compare the pair, to be honest with you. I haven't even looked to see where I'm at against last year, because I know it'll be horrendous.
Well, no, I'm joking.
Here's something I said earlier.
Yeah, here's your best bits.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Well, that's
on Chalk and Fitness, is that?
Yeah. Yeah, 9. I had 1 year missing, so I had my knee replaced, and I didn't do. I think it was 2018. I didn't do or something like that. But the rest of them I've done for the last 9 years.
Well, very impressed. Very, very impressed. We I think we've probably come to the end, haven't we, lads?
Yeah.
Have we got any member shout outs this week, Jace?
Oh, I kind of was shouting them out on the leaderboard. So I thought Ryan has done an incredibly impressive performance on this last workout. Ben, again, is super high. And Daniel, I'm coming for you. So let's try. I hope 22.3 has something. And I won't be as distracted. I was very distracted going into 22.2 with helmet construction for my costume for the Friday Night Lights. But that's done.
I saw the fancy dress. I thought it was
you see that? I've got it here. Hold on. Oh, I can't reach it.
Don't break your helmet in 22.3. That sounds painful.
Yeah.
That's good.
So team color was yellow. And when I hear yellow, I think Wolverine. And so I knew I wasn't going to win the workout, but I thought I could win some points for my team. And then not sponsored by Fit Aid, but definitely Trouble Unders, CrossFit Bath. Trouble Unders are the best team at CrossFit Bath. Just if you want to just message into CrossFit Bath that
t-shirts, did we?
Oh.
Shocker.
Right.
Shocker. Well, I don't know. Tom gone. Do you think Tom's gone to look for a helmet or?
Yeah, he's got something with his helmet.
No worries. Well, yeah, I don't. I guess Tom's gone. I guess there's probably a crying baby in the background.
Oh no, there he is.
Oh no, he's back. He's back.
He's got something. Has he got something?
Apart from Fit Aid t-shirt sponsorship.
It's a nice tee that like I did in the back.
It's a top t-shirt actually. It's a top t-shirt. Sorry, I was getting a phone charger. You wouldn't think I'd been doing podcasting for that long, would you? Laptop charger. But yeah, I'm back.
Well, welcome back.
If we've still got anyone listening to the podcast version of this, really appreciate you listening.
Donna Reynolds has been in. Oh, Donna's on the leaderboard.
Yeah, she's big us.
Donna Reynolds is. I mean, mine's a little bit skewed because I've got extra people on here. So I'll tell you what. Let's show the leaderboard quickly.
Okay.
Show the leaderboard.
You're not
Just
in the
before
plate
we
stack
go.
that one, are you?
It's not on the. Sam doesn't have. So there's 2 versions. If you put in the hashtag, you can find it that way, and then there's the actual leaderboard where we've put people on.
So this is the leaderboard that I've put people on. So guests that we've had on, apart from Joe last week, because I didn't actually know how to spell his name. I know that sounds daft, but it's not his same as his Instagram handle, so I couldn't work it out because I'm daft. But yeah, top of our leaderboard currently, Benjamin Cole. He came first with in both the workouts. Connor came third and third. Paul second and fifth. But I added Boz in because Boz.
See, Ryan came second on that last workout.
Yeah, what a beast. To Ben.
And I came. I've come 9th and 9th. So
Donna came joint 7th. Yeah, 9th and 9th. So you're bang in the middle.
I'm consistent with my 11th and 12th as well, so it's good.
I'm consistent down here.
17th and 17th.
Me and Rochelle battling it out for the wooden spoon. Rochelle would have won had I not added Zakk before this, but I actually win the prize for being I think I do anyway. Yeah, I must do. The prize for being the closest age to points won in the competition, which I thought was pretty good. So 35 to place 34.
You're only 35.
All right. Let's see how old Zakk Wild is.
Oh, I can't even remember. 43? 44?
You are nearly. Zakk Wild gets the prize for being double the age of his score.
Yeah, it's put me in the. I'm not actually 44 yet. Just
so it will give you. It gives you the age you will be at the games.
At the games.
Yeah. So it's making us a little bit older. I'll take 44.
Yeah. Well, that's that. Let's stop the screen share then. But thank you all for tuning in tonight and for listening on the podcast on Spotify or watching on Spotify for that matter. Zakk, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing.
I've got a
to have
shout
you.
out.
Have you?
And a shameless plug. It's dual. It's a shout out for Donna, who's just popped up because she's written a guest article for the Chalking Fitness newsletter, which you can get through signing up in the bio at Chalking Fitness.
That really was a shameless plug. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It was a shout out too.
I've got a shout out for my own podcast. Well done, Tom. Well done.
Hey, no, it was a shout out for Donna. She's written an article. There we go.
Oh yeah, sorry, Donna. We do love you very much. Hopefully we'll see you soon. We're probably too far behind in you. Woohoo! Messaging live. If you Donna is going to be at some more comps, I imagine. Rep it out and battle for middle grounds and stuff.
Yeah, she'll be. We'll all be at some soon.
Some of the licensed CrossFit licensed graft events.
We cannot start another discussion now, please, Sam.
No, we're not.
Wrap it up.
Zakk, thanks for coming. Jason, Tom, as always, been great.
Pleasure.
And thanks for tuning in. You stay classy, everybody.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Cheers, then. Bye.
Bye.